Alrighty then, welcome to another comprehensive Magic the Gathering Arena draft video. So, Strixhaven's about to arrive. We have quick draft Throne of Eldraine, and I do have 5k gold. So, why not fire one off and revisit this set since I kind of miss it. But we're doing bots, so hopefully they fix the Merfolk Secret Keeper problem. And yeah, I mean, are we just gonna do blue-red again? I've done this archetype a million times and is always quite wide open in Throne of Eldraine. Alternatively, the best other two cards in this pack are Sir Eleonora and Fierce Witchstalker, and between both of these are actually kind of close. Like, Sir Eleonora draws a card, she's a great defensive blocker, blue's pretty controlling in this set, and yeah, just excellent value. And can also be a fine win condition if you have enough cards in your hand. You can just get a good attack in. I mean, Fierce Witchstalker just basically halts the ground against aggressive decks. I mean, it's also just a great attacker, and then it generates a food token when it enters the battlefield for potential food synergy. So between these two, it's pretty interesting. I think green is the best color in this set. So I might just take the Fierce Witchstalker out of color preference over the Sir Eleonora, but it could definitely be a mistake as well, given there's a lot of card draw synergies in this set. So Sir Eleonora might just be the pick over Fierce Witchstalker. But between these two, they're both the best two cards in this pack. I mean, the other best two cards in this pack, but Royal Scions is just really powerful. It's a Planeswalker that needs to be destroyed immediately, otherwise you'll just gain a lot of value with the plus abilities. You're able to just draw a card, a discarded card to enable the draw 2 synergies in the blue-red deck, and then the other ability where you can just give a creature +2 +0 and first strike and trample can just enable some powerful attacks. And then of course the ultimate is just basically just a game-winning ability. So yeah, I guess I don't mind just first picking the Royal Scions and just do another boring blue-red draw your cards matter archetype. And if somehow the bots are if the bots are drunk, they'll pass me Mad Ratter and Sir Eleonora as well to synergize with this Royal. I also forgot to mention the Mad Ratter, of course. I was kind of sidetracked by these other two cards, but this is a card that you would play in the blue-red deck since you're trying to enable the ability, and it's quite powerful as well. Keep in mind, the blue-red deck's biggest weakness is the black-blue control deck, which is looking to mill the opponent out in this set, but hopefully we don't come across too many of those opponents, and we're able to just play a long, grindy control game and kill everyone else. So I think we'll just take the Royal Scions here, but if the bots are drunk, they'll pass me Mad Ratter and Sir Eleonora, and they can still end up wheeling, so we'll see.
Appreciate clean victories.
Ooh, Fairy Vandal's perfect with the Royal Scions, and this is a very flexible card as well. Like, basically, blue has a lot of card draw in the set, so you'll still play this in like a blue-green deck, a blue-black deck, or even like a blue-white deck. But yeah, this card's fantastic. Alternatively, Revenge of Ravens is also an overperformer in the black control decks. It's also one of our biggest weaknesses, since if we do pick up an improbable alliance and we're just making a bunch of 1/1s all day, this card can definitely halt us, since they won't be able to lose life since they can just gain life. It's still a pretty narrow speculative card as well, since it's not very good against big green creatures, which green I think is again the best color in the set, and if you just face up against a bunch of Garenbrig paladins, it's not that great. But against like white go wide decks and like the red blue deck we're playing the draft, which is looking to make a million tokens, this card can just definitely halt us for a long time. Oathsworn Knight is actually more, it's a good card, but it's actually more fancy than it is actually great. I mean, this is a good card that I would play in any aggressive Black Knights deck, but the fact that it's forced to attack each turn can be kind of awkward if you're playing it in like a control deck, and then it can also be awkward if the opponent also has high toughness blockers. But if you can curve out with the Oathsworn Knight, it's quite strong. But pack one pick one, I would still take Fairy Vandal over it. And then at common, there's a Golden Egg, which can synergize with Fairy Vandal, but Fairy Vandal is just perfect, following up Royal Scion, so we're doing it again. And yeah, turn into a pumpkin, Tome Raider, wow. I mean, the bots don't really respect this archetype at all. There's also Reef Soul. I mean, this pack is really good. Reef Soul, Wicked Guardian, both very good, but probably take Reef Soul over it. Witching Well is a fine 5-mana scry 2, draw 2. definitely more fancier than it looks, but you know, it's nice to play this early on to improve your draw steps, and then late game you can stack it to draw 2 to enable the synergies, the draw 2 mechanic on the opponent's turn. Tree Folk is also fine. Curve Topper, Wicked Guardian is nice in the black controlling decks. Tome Raider is great synergy of our deck. Same with the same with Witching Well, of course. But I think it's just an easy turn to a pumpkin. Like, even if we don't enable Adam in with this, you're still bouncing a creature and drawing a card, so that replaces itself. Whereas usually a typical bounce spell isn't great, since you go down a card, you gain tempo, but you go down a card. But the fact that you draw a card off of this is great. And given that's uncommon, I think we take it over Tome Raider. Like, sure, I don't care too much about the adamant portion of this, but it's also a fine upside if we can enable it, so we can gain us some life. Like, we're not going to focus on food synergies, of course, but the fact that this just draws a card is good, and has the relevant upside is a great card. So Turn into a Pumpkin is really awesome. But this pack is also full of good cards. Thunderous Snapper, not Thunderous Snapper. Flutterfox, So Tiny, Tome Raider. Yeah, this pack is really good, but we'll take a Turn to a Pumpkin here. And then, even in the blue-red deck, I'm not a big fan of the Bloodhaze Wolverine. I can see the Ferocity of the Wilds being incredibly powerful if we do pick up the Improbable Alliance and the Mad Ratter. Just giving all of our creatures +1/+1 zone trample can definitely steal the game. And I think it's pretty good. Alternatively, Queen of Ice and Bloodhaze Wolverine are both pretty solid too in these blue-red deck. But I guess I'm not even a big fan of the Bloodhaze Wolverine. Like, if we were much more of an aggressive version of the blue-red deck, Bloodhaze Wolverine would be fine as a 2-drop. But like, the Queen of Ice could actually just be better in the blue-red deck, since it's actually trying to win the late game, where you're just trying to make a bunch of tokens and stall the opponent out and kill them. And this is just a good blocker, and it can also delay an opponent's biggest creature for 1 turn, which can be very annoying. But I do like Ferocity of the Wilds here, given it's an uncommon, and I don't want multiple copies of Queen of Ice and Bloodhaze Wolverine anyway, so I'm fine just passing these up, and so we can hopefully pick them up later. Whereas Ferocity of the Wilds can be pretty insane if we make a bunch of tokens and just smash, and it's definitely really strong. Might not make it into the deck if we don't pick up enough token generators, but I think it has the highest upside. I'm just going to take it here. Now there's our Queen of Ice, but there's also Thrill a possibility. I think we take Thrill over Queen of Ice, given that we're trying to do this whole card draw thing. And I like this actually more than Op in the blue-red deck, since you can enable the ability on the opponent's turn, which can catch them off guard. So it's definitely a nice card to have in these blue-red decks. Fireborn Knight still late in the pack, so maybe the red-white aggressive deck is open. But yeah, we'll take a Thrill. If not, Queen of Ice would make it. But seeing that 2 of them gets past, I don't need to prioritize them. And I also like Moonlit Scavengers as a great curve topper. So therefore, if we do want those corridor monitors on turn 2, which are artifacts, the 1/4 artifact monitors, which can untap a target creature, a target permanent when it enters the battlefield. It's a nice 2-drop that can block, and then the Moonlit Scavengers can bounce something. So I do like the Moonlit Scavengers a lot in these blue-red control decks, so don't mind taking it here. Ooh, Red Cat Melee is quite good, same with the Ember of Shieldbreaker. Mantle Tides does have synergy and is definitely playable in these blue-red decks, but it's something that usually ends up wheeling, and it's not like a card that, it's not like you necessarily need it to win the game, especially if we have Ferocity of the Wilds, which can pump our tokens. I think it's just Red Cat Melee just as a solid removal spell. Like, sure, you're not always going to face against an opponent with a red permanent, but when you do, it's really strong. And even in the late game, when you need to use this at instant speed to kill an opponent's threat, you stack a land, it's actually not that bad, because usually, you're going to have a lot of lands in the late game anyways, so sacrificing one isn't all too bad. It's not amazing in the early game, though, if you need to use this right away to deal with a non-red permanent, because you do need to end up stacking a land and you lose tempo. But still, I think it's better than the Ember of Shieldbreaker. Ember of Shieldbreaker is also quite nice. The fact it has the versatility to destroy a target artifact, and as a 2/1 creature is quite good. But I still think the Red Cat Melee is better, since, there's a decent amount of artifacts that you don't mind just destroying this set, but it's not like it can target creatures or enchantments. So I think we'll just take a Red Cat Melee. And then Quarter Monitor, although there's another Thrill. Although I do like the Quarter Monitor as a good blocker, but do I actually take it over the Thrill? Is that insane, taking the Quarter Monitor over Thrill? I think it is. Although we do have a Thrill of possibilities already. There's a chance we can always pick up one later, and you know it can be kind of awkward if we just have too many Thriller possibilities in the deck, and we just end up decking ourselves. So I don't actually mind the Quarter Monitor just as a good 2-drop, and it can enable the Moonlit Scavengers on turn 6. And yeah, it just blocks the ground really nicely on turn 2. Shambling Suit, not a card I like too much, even in the blue-white deck, it's really medium. So yeah, I'll take a Quarter Monitor over Thrill just to diversify a bit, in case we don't ever pick one up. And wow, Mad Ratter. I guess the bots are drunk, they don't care about this archetype too much. Okay, our first payoff for the blue-red deck. And yeah, we have a bunch of enablers here. I guess Fairy Vandal's our first payoff, but now we have a second one that's quite strong. And then, yep, we have a decent amount of enablers, Turn into Pumpkin, Royal Scions, Royal possibilities already. And then, yeah, the Mad Ratter is another payoff, so... Alright, Blood Haze Wolverine. Not sure if I'm going to be playing it, because we could end up in, again, the much more controlling version that's just trying to get to the late game with the Mad Ratters and Ferocity, and then just smash for tokens. But if we're more aggressive, I can see myself playing it, so we'll see. And Fairy Vandal's excellent, since we can just curve out the Fairy Vandal into the Tome Raider, and it can just enable the card draw. I like this card, especially against, like, in this set it's actually quite good, because there's a lot of 1 toughness knights that are aggressive in this set, so it's just nice to just play a turn 3 Tome Raider, which draws your card and trades for a knight. So big fan of the Tome Raider. So tiny, best in the blue-black mill deck, but I also don't see it as an unreasonable card we might be forced to main deck. Not sure if I'll ever play 2 copies of Blood Haze Wolverine, but I'll put one in the sideboard, and in case we want to be aggressive, I'll play it. And I don't think we're going to do mono red for Dwarven Mine, so Crystal Slipper seems fine. And then, yep, and then common for gems. Okay, yeah, first pack went amazing. Hopefully we can pick up the Improbable Alliance next pack. Maybe another Mad Ratter could be great, maybe more removal, and then we're just all set and done. Draft another broken blue-red control deck with Royal Signs as our first pick. And I do like Vantress Gargoyle, but I also like Scorching Dragonfire. Vantress is good, but I don't think we're going to be milling the opponent as much. It can't attack unless the opponent has 7 or more cards in their graveyard, so they need cards in their graveyard. So we do need to kind of mill them in a sense, and we don't really have any mill cards as of right now. And it can't block unless I have 4 or more cards in your hand. So the only reason I would be playing Vantress Gargoyle is to have a very good blocker on turn 2. Since we're going to have a lot of cards in our hand, but we're not necessarily going to make them have 7 cards in their graveyard, so it might just be leaning towards Scorching Dragonfire as a good removal spell. Pack 1, pick 1, yeah, Vantress Gargoyle is quite good, and I would play it, since you can still play this in like a blue-green deck, and again, blue-red, and then blue-black, and then it also has nice synergy in the blue-white deck as well, since it's an artifact creature, but I think we want the Scorching Dragonfire more, so we can kind of help stabilize and survive. So, yeah, I think the Scorching Dragonfire seems nice. And then another Turn to Pumpkin, although there's Slaying Fire, Opt, and Steelgaze Griffin. Yeah, I do like Turn to Pumpkin, but Slaying Fire is just removal, and it just kills things. I mean, but I might be more tempted to Turn to Pumpkin, given that we're trying to enable the whole card draw thing going on. I mean, but we might just have enough card draw going on in this deck that we'd rather just have Slaying Fire just to kill something. Like, sure, we can tempo the opponent and draw a card, but I'd rather just kill something, and Slaying Fire just gets it done. And I'm not even sure if I'm going to be playing Blood Haze Wolverine. Like, it's nice to have this 4-mana interaction that bounces and draw a card, and I'm really hoping we can get it late. But Slaying Fire is just removal, and removal is, again, just removal. And we have one already in Turn to Pumpkin, and being 3 mana is a lot more efficient than Turn, so it's better to be safe than sorry, so I'm going to take a Slaying Fire. And hopefully we can, again, draw more card draw. And wow, we got one here. Lock Dragon is fantastic. So had we taken the turn into a pumpkin, we would be pretty stacked on turn 4. So I'm quite happy I have a Slaying Fire here. And Lock Dragon is just great. The fact that it enters right away to enable is quite good. So even if it ends up dying, you still trigger the card draw ability. It's an evasive threat, which needs to be answered right away. And then it just enables every single time it's attacking, so it seems great. Alternatively, I wouldn't mind an Ember Shieldbreaker in this deck too, and I don't think we're milling the opponent, but Merfolk Secret Keeper is a good blue common. Reef Soul too, but just take a Lock Dragon here. Wow, Turn to Pumpkin late, also Steelgaze Griffin and the Searing Barrage. I definitely will take Turn into Pumpkin over Searing Barrage, since Searing Barrage is good, but but it's only great if you can enable Adamant with this. It's removal, but still kind of clunky at 5. I'm hoping I can pick up a win condition like Steelcase Griffin later, but I do like to turn to Pumpkin a whole lot more. And then yeah, just because it can enable the synergies in our deck, which we're trying to do, and then it just draws us a card and replaces itself. Again, I hope I get a Steelgaze Griffin because I kind of need one of these as my win conditions. But as of right now, we already have Mad Ratter, Fairy Vandal, and then maybe a Lock Dragon as win conditions. So I don't need to focus it on it too much. Whereas turn is just great synergy and can just is what we need. Wow, I also like Hypnotic Sprite. There's also Runaway Together and Queen of Ice, both nice. I like the Runaway more in the mill deck, which can synergize well with the Secret Keepers, allowing us to bounce them back and just mill the opponent. Runaway is fine with the Tome Raider, but it's not like an exceptional card in our deck since it does reset counters for Fairy Vandal, and we have 2 bounce spells already. Hypnotic Sprite, however, is just a great card. It's a counter spell we can keep up on turn 3 with all of our other instances, and we are playing a decent amount with Fairy Vandal, Thrill, Slaying, Scorching Dragonfire, Redcap, Melee, and then turn to a Pumpkin. So we're definitely playing a decent amount instant speed, so we can keep up the Hypnotic Sprite for it, and then we can always just play it as a 2-1 later in the late game, or just curve out with it if we want to. So I think I'm liking Hypnotic Sprite over the Queen of Ice, but Queen of Ice, I'm hoping we can get one, but it's not like that important, and I'll take a Mantle of the Tides as a creature, as an equipment that has decent synergy in this deck. We might not play it too much if we can't make a ton of tokens. It's good with flyers, I think, but if we don't have the Improbable Alliance, I might not play it. Mystical Dispute used to be a card that was worth something back in the days. Still a fine card, but still a worse counterspell than Hypnotic Sprite, but can be a decent sideboard card against opposing blue players, and would be my pick if I was in best out of 3, but I think the Mantle is a better best out of 1 card, so we'll put in the sideboard for now. And is this a deck for Into the Story? I don't think so. Like, we're not looking to mill the opponent. Like, we have a decent amount of removal, but Scorching Dragonfire exiles. So I don't think we're that type of deck, especially if we're bouncing them. These 2 other cards don't make sense in the deck. I think it's just Wishful Merfolk. It's almost just like the Quarter Modder, just as a good blocker in the early game to help us trade off and stay alive. Bloodhaze Wolverine, better, again, a much more aggressive blue-red deck. But again, it seems like we're much more controlling, almost. But yeah, and we don't have too many card draw on the opponent's turn, which can enable it, other than 1 Thriller possibility. So yeah, I think the Wishful Merfolk might actually just replace Bloodhaze Wolverine in this deck, so I think I'll take it. This is kind of like what we need, and we got Quarter Modders anyway, so kind of missed out on the second Thrill. Hopefully we can get one later, so I'll just take it here. And then, ooh, Tome Raider, awesome. I think I like Tome over Queen, because again, just to enable the synergy, and it's a nice evasive flyer, so now the Mantle of the Tides does look better. There's also Mystic Sanctuary, which can loop back to turn to Pumpkin, Slaying Fire, and all these other amazing instances or sorceries. But I'm not sure if we're going to be like heavy blue at all, since we have some red cards, so I think the Tome Raider is just a safer choice. And just plays very well. Ooh, Steelgaze Griffin and Opt. Might just be the Opt here. I mean, I do want 1 Steelgaze Griffin at least. But maybe we have enough win conditions already. 2 flyers. Lock Dragon, which can chip in, Moonlit Scavengers can maybe get in. So it's not like we really need win conditions, whereas Op is just a very cheap way to enable the card draw at 1 mana, and that's very efficient, and I like that. So I think I like the Opt here over Steelgaze Griffin, but it's close. In case we need So Tiny, I'll take it, but it's not a card I'm happy to play. And then I'll just take a land or a flyer, I don't know. And Runaway Together. Might play this because it could bounce back to Tome Raider, but it's also a card that I might not need, but we'll see. Alright, so it seems quite decent. We might not run Ferocity because, again, we don't have too many ways to generate tokens outside of Mad Ratter, but overall this deck is shaping out really nicely, so I'm going to put some of these other cards into our sideboard. These are more like the cards that are kind of questionable for the deck, whereas like these cards I see myself definitely main decking. But we could definitely use another payoff for the draw mechanic. So I'm going to move the value cards here. These are the removal. Yep, since we just took double Tome Raider, could use another like card like a payoff. And wow, the bots really want us to draft this archetype. Okay, I'll take it. I mean, Pyromancer's just broken in our deck. Like, it's a good blocker, and then you just kill everything. that they have. So basically, any aggro deck that plays against us, and if we're able to play this and then draw a card with it, is just gonna cry. So yeah, Ironcrag Pyromancers to pick. Otherwise, wouldn't mind a Charm Sleep or Serum Barrage, but yeah, gonna take our bomb here. And another Slaying Fire and the Scorching Dragonfire. Usually I think the Slaying Fire is better than the Scorching Dragonfire for the most part. But the Scorching Dragonfire just being 2 mana might just be a little bit more efficient. Scorching Dragonfire is better if we can enable Adamant, but again, I'm not sure if we can enable it consistently. The fact that this can go face is also could be better than Scorching Dragonfire. I like the fact that this can also just go face as a fine finisher, so might just be leaning towards Slaying Fire over Scorching Dragonfire. And yeah, I mean, I like Scorching Dragonfire too, but don't get me wrong, but I think Slaying Fire could just be better. I mean, they're both close. I'm definitely not going to take Golden Egg over any of these two removal spells, though. Maybe we just want Scorching. Sure, this can go face, but maybe the 2 mana is just much more efficient, because sometimes we just need to, if we're missing our land drops, we just want a 2 mana removal spell as opposed to 3. And it's still going to do the same damage for the most part in our deck. We have a decent amount of blue cards that I don't know if we're going to enable Adamant for Slaying Fire consistently. And we should just have enough flyers to ping them to death that we don't need the extra face damage. So I think I'm liking Scorching Dragonfire more actually in this type of deck. There's a Didn't Say Please. Don't think we're jousting. Yeah, this is probably the worst pack we've seen so far right now. All of our other packs were just really good. We could take a Mystic Sanctuary, I guess. It's fine having 1 copy of this, actually. I don't think we want to take a Didn't Say Please, even though we do have a bunch of instant speed spells. It's just the double blue isn't that great, and then, yeah, we're not looking to really mill the opponent. Our creatures aren't large enough to joust. Red Cat Raiders is better for a Curve Out beatdown deck, so Mystic Sanctuary could be fine. I could see myself playing one of, just like we're playing the Slaying Fire, I could see 1 copy. And then I do like 1 copy of Merchant too. Given that we have double Tome Raider, even though they fly and they can ping the opponents, I feel like the Merchant is just a much more, it's just reliable. The fact that this is a blocker on turn 3 is nice, and then if we can't enable the card draw mechanic constantly, the Merchant is just a permanent that can stay on the battlefield, which can enable it. So yeah, it seems quite good. Also forgot to mention that the Ironcrag Pyromancer can also deal face damage, so we don't necessarily need to whatchamacallit, what was the last pack full of? I forgot, but we also have a win condition with the Ironcrag Pyromancer as well. So I mean, I guess I like the Ironcrag. So I guess we don't need to prioritize the 3rd Tome Raider as much. That's what I mean, since now we have a Pyromancer. And with 2 of them, it's fine. I just like the Merchant as a good ground blocker, and also like a permanent we can keep alive, and which can keep enabling this. And I also like the Golden Egg here. Can gain us a bit of life, can enable card draw, and just a fine turn 2 play. In case we miss our land drops, we can just cast this and draws this card. There's also Queen of Ice, of course, but I think our 3s are fine enough that we don't need it. Yeah, the 3s look fine. Golden Egg just draws us a card. Also helps enable our first Moonlit Scavengers. I actually prefer maybe Crashing Drawbridge over Rimrock Knight as well. Since Rimrock Knight can't block, it's only going to be good in the most aggressive red decks, like the red-white, red-black aggro decks or red-green. So I don't think this is going to make the cut, whereas Crashing Drawbridge could be okay. Although we do have a Quarter Monitor already, we might need the extra blocker on turn 2. The fact that it gives haste could also be nice sometimes. I mean, what's good to give haste to? Maybe the Lock Dragon, maybe Moonlit Scavengers. Don't think Mad Ratter we want to give haste. Don't think we want to give haste to... Maybe haste with a 2/1 flyer, perhaps. We'll see. So, don't mind the Crashing Drawbridge. But it's funny enough, usually, typically speaking, the Crashing Drawbridge I like in other sets, since this can give haste. But the Quarter Monitor could actually just be better than Crashing Drawbridge in this set, given that the 1 power is really effective against 1 toughness creatures like Silver Flame Squire, and then there's just a lot of 1 toughness knights in this set. So Quarter Monitor, I think it's actually more preferable than Crashing Drawbridge. And yeah, we'll take another Lock Dragon. The bots are definitely drunk here. You don't pass 2 Lock Dragons this late. And then maybe we play the 2nd Merchant of Vale. And then maybe we play Inquisitive Puppet. I don't know. We definitely don't care about any of these. I'll take the Puppet for gems, since it's an uncommon. But we'll see. So yeah, we have pretty much all of our pieces for this deck. Could have used a Steel Gaze Griffin, but I'm still fine without it. Misfit River Turtle could also be reasonable as a good ground blocker on 4, but again, we have a lot of 4s already. We already have a Crystal Slipper, so I don't think we need it. Plus, we have Mantle of the Tides, which could be better. So yeah, I guess we're just missing 2 cards to throw into the deck. And then yeah, everything just looks really awesome. So we'll just have to see what we need. We're actually kind of missing the payoff cards for the Draw Your Card Matters, but we do have Mad Ratter. We also have Ironcrag Pyromancer and the Fairy Vandal, so that hopefully is enough. But, you know, I could have used an Improbable Alliance on 2, and this deck could have been even more busted. But let's see. Let's move our interaction spells on the other side. Red Cap Melee, Double Scorching Dragonfire, Slaying Fire are all excellent. The value cards are the Opt, the Thrill of Possibilities, the Golden Egg, and then I guess Turn-Doom Pumpkin is also a card draw spell, but being at 4 mana, I think we're more likely to just cast this on curve rather than play this later, so I'm going to keep it as a 4-drop, more likely than not. We're going to play this on 3, we might play Ironcrag Pyromancer on 3, Merchant will mostly play on 4, but we can still play it as a desperate 3-drop if we need a blocker. Royal Signs will play on 3. Golden Egg, I guess we're just going to cast on 2 anyway, so there's no reason to keep this around. Hypnotic Sprite is either a 3 or 2 drop, like the Fairy Vandal, and also, like, again, I like the Corridor Monitor over Crashing Drawbridge, given that there's a lot of 1 toughness in the set. So, yeah, I think this is kind of our main board, and then I think we're going to keep it even split, but I do like 1 Mystic Sanctuary, just to have that upside of getting turned to a pumpkin, and just having 1 tap land tapped is fine. And I think I'm going to focus more on blue than red, given that our only adamant red payoff card is the Slaying Fire, whereas we have double turn into a pumpkin and Hypnotic Sprite that we might cast on curve. So I think it's reasonable having the extra blue over the red. And then looking at the sideboard, what can we consider? We could consider 1 extra Merchant of the Veil. We could consider maybe Crashing Drawbridge in the deck. Inquisitive Puppet's pretty bad. It's not going to block anything, unfortunately. Don't think we're aggressive enough for Red Cap Raiders. We are looking to just win through the air, I think. I don't think we need to attack on the ground. Ferocity could be fine. It gives us some trample for the Mad Ratter tokens. For the Lock Mirror, for the Lock Dragon, it can pump up. Same with the Tome Raiders. It seems okay in this type of deck, actually. So I could consider it, but it's not amazing. Don't think we're playing Blow Your House Down. We're looking to fly over to win. We don't need to make things unblockable. Could play a random Bloodhaze Wolverine. I actually don't hate the idea. Like, just to have that aggressive 2-drop could be reasonable. There's also Crystal Slipper, but I'd rather, again, just play the Mantle of the Tides, which is right here. Misfit River Turtle could also be reasonable, but we have a bunch at 4 already, and it's a little bit high on the curve, so I don't really need it. Could play Wishful Merfolk, though, as a fine 2-drop. Runaway Together could also be reasonable. I don't think we need another Quarter Monitor, so I guess these are the kind of cards we're looking at. And which one do we prefer? This is interesting. How good is Runaway Together? It's nice since it can actually save a creature and also bounce the opponent back, so it's a little bit of extra interaction if we need it, and it's also pretty good with the Tome Raider. It's not great with the Fairy Vandal, but it's actually decent with the Hypnotic Sprite too, since we can bounce it back and have an extra counter spell. It's also really cheap, so I actually might consider a Runaway Together in this deck, so it actually looks pretty reasonable. Bouncing back like Lock Dragons, we have some good creatures to save too, in case there's a removal. And just 2 mana is really efficient. And again, with Tome Raider seems pretty good, so might just prefer to run it way together in this deck. In terms of interaction, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, we have a little bit of good interaction already. The second Merchant of the Veil could also be reasonable, but like we have a bunch of 3s already, so it could be a little bit awkward just having another Merchant, even though like it does draw us cards. I think we have enough ways to enable already with double Turn to a Pumpkin, double Tome Raider, Royal Scions, of course. 1 Merchant of the Veil, 1 Golden Egg, 1 Ob, 1 Thrill. Yeah, we should have enough ways to enable, so I can see myself cutting 1 Merchant and not needing the second one. Ferocity, of course, could also be fine, but, you know, I think we could just win the game without it, honestly. Like, yeah, even though, like, it's really nice with the Mad Ratters and some of our flyers, like, it's still kind of weird playing this on turn 3 and doing nothing. So I don't really think it's that impactful unless we have a million tokens out, which is an if. You know, if we don't have the tokens, it's not going to be great. But if we do have the tokens, it's going to be great. So I don't think we need it. Whereas like a Runaway Together could be really nice in this type of deck. In terms of our blockers in the early game, we have Quarter Monitor, but not much else. A Golden Egg. So could see the argument for having these 2 defensive creatures, and I think this deck is going to try to be more defensive again than it is aggressive, so I don't see a reason to play the Bloodhaze Wolverine. It's just a bad blocker. Like, it helps us be aggressive, but again, I think we're just trying to win the late game with flyers and then outvalue them with Mad Ratter and Ironcrag Pyromancer, so I don't think Bloodhaze Wolverine is going to make the cut. And I can see the same reasonable argument for not having the Mantle of the Tides. It's just like Ferocity of the Wilds. It's an extra point of damage, but it might not matter, honestly. Like, it's just 1 point. It's nice to have an equipment that you can move around, and as an artifact for Moonlit, but I don't really think it's that great. So I could see it being cut. And then, I think, again, we just rather have blockers, so we might not need Wishful Merfolk. So now the question is, do we need the second Crashing Drawbridge or the second Corridor Monitor? In terms of blockers, yeah, it does seem like we are lacking blockers in the early game. Like, Moonlit, I guess, is a good blocker in the late game. Mad Ratter can make tokens to chump, I guess. Merchant of Veil is a fine blocker, and the Corridor Monitor, but we could use another one, maybe. Maybe it's reasonable just having another Crashing Drawbridge or a Corridor Monitor in the deck, not sure. But I'm definitely going to be playing 17 lands, since we're going to be discarding a lot to the Lock Dragon, to the Merchant of the Veils, and the Royal Scions. So I think we're going to have to run 17 lands, and or we can just run 18. Is 18 lands unreasonable? I mean, if we're going to be missing 2-drop blockers, we could just run 18 lands for the hell of it. And just, you know, have a bunch of stuff we can just discard. Which is actually not unreasonable if you think about it. So could just consider going 18 lands over having a second blocker. But a second blocker just gives us nice insurance, I have to admit. So could just run the second Corridor Monitor for the hell of it. Just to have, again, defense in the early game, so again, we just don't die to a bunch of, like, aggressive knights. Running 18 lands could also, again, just be reasonable. But maybe 17 is still just fine for the deck. Lots of options. I mean, I don't mind the haste, honestly, but, I mean, the only good cards of our haste is actually just the Lock Dragon, if you think about it. Like, Moonlit Scavenger, sure, you can give haste and attack, but, like, it's mostly going to stay back to block, because they're going to definitely have enough ways to double block and chump in the late game, so I guess that's an argument for not having the Moonlit Scavenger, for not having the Crashing Drawbridge. I mean, it's nice with the Lock Dragon, though, but outside of it, again, it's just not that great, so probably just don't need the Crashing Drawbridge. Hypnotic Sprite could also just be a 3-drop in this deck, too, so I can see the argument for not having Merchant since we have the Hypnotic Sprite already. And again, I don't think we need Ferocity of the Wilds. We should have enough power in the air. Same argument for, I guess, the Mantle of the Tides. We should have enough power in the air to help close out. It's nice against the, the Raven's Warning, the Revenge of Ravens, I guess, since it can at least enhance a Tome Raider to attack past something. But at that point, I mean, I guess I'd rather just have Ferocity to do that. We have Scorching Dragonfire in the early game, Red Cat Melee, Slaying Fire. So we do have a bunch of ways to defend in the early game already. But maybe second Corridor Monitor is still safe. And then hopefully we can just get to the late game and we should be fine. And then we can just go 9-8, perhaps. Because we have turn and Tome Raider to draw us cards anyways, so don't think we need to flood out. I don't think we might. I mean, I don't want to risk flooding still. Even if this deck can discard cards and draw a bunch of them, I don't want to risk flooding. So, yeah, I guess it seems reasonable. But I can see taking Ferocity over the second Corridor Monitor, actually. But I think we'll just give this a shot and see how it goes. So, yeah. Is it control again? I guess it is, and Royal Scion is kind of like what we want to do. And it's funny enough, it's the flavor of the Royal Scions is quite nice, because the next set is Strixhaven, and the Royal Scions are Will and Rowan are part of the plane. So I guess this is a nice way to kind of end the set for our next draft until our next draft. So let's give this a shot and see if we. And hopefully we don't face against a mill deck or Revenge of Ravens. Because in this draft we also saw some late Merfolk Secret Keepers, so I guess the bots might not respect them enough again. So hopefully we don't face against that too much. Opening hand, an Opt, Royal Scions, Mad Ratter. Seems okay. I think it's a keep. Might just opt right away to maybe help find a blocker. And we do have the Royal Scions on 3, which is a permanent, which can enable the card draw, so we might not need to save the opt. And if he's going to be aggressive, Scalding Cauldron. It can't deal damage to Royal, but it can deal damage to Mad Ratter, so hopefully maybe I can run away. Runaway's fine, but might not need it right now. So I think we're just going to bomb that and then hope for something else. Fairy Vandal's nice on 2 though. I'm liking that, so we're going to play Red Mat, and the turn I don't mind flashing Fairy Vandal, and then next turn we can Royal Scions to start growing it past the Scalding Cauldron, but he's probably going to use it anyways. But if he's going to use it on our Fairy Vandal, he won't have an option to use it on Mad Ratter. So I think that's the play. Although the interesting thing to note is that if we do flash into Fairy Vandal and then just plus with the Royal Scions, I guess he gets to hit the Royal Scions, but I'm fine just taking 3 with it, so... and I don't really want Scorching this. It's not that scary, so I think this is fine for now. And then we're just going to Royal Scions here. And then we're fine growing the Fairy Vandal.
I enjoy the proper application of knowledge.
And then I think I'll ditch an island here, since I have 2 of them already. And I can stay back with this. But I guess if he plays a land, he can also pump with the Jousting Dummy, so maybe there's no point in really staying back. Because if he plays land and trades for this, it's not that great. So, I think we just attack with the Fairy Vandals and go. And then if he wants to use the Scalding Cauldron on the Fairy Vandal, that's okay. Rowan takes 2, and then I can just play Mad Ratter and make a million rat tokens to block the Jousting Dummy the following turn, so doesn't seem bad. I don't know why it's frozen. That could be...
Coward.
Ooh, wow. But Lock Dragon is good, but I think we just get Mad Ratter down to make chump blockers to protect Rowan, so I think we just do that.
Let us plan.
And I think we're going to ditch the Mystic Sanctuary. I don't think we're going to enable it. And yeah, we just block off the 2-1 all day. Next turn we can just play Lock Dragon and just go to town. I could even just... Yeah, I guess I can just plus... I can also just plus a Rat 2 next turn to give it +2/+0 and trample, since this is going to enable Mad Ratter as well, so probably don't need to plus a draw. I can also just double block this as well, which I don't mind. So we can also Scorching the Inspired Veteran. So we'll see. Fervent Champion. I mean, it is annoying, but maybe I'm still fine double blocking the Jousting Dummy. Yeah, I'm fine double blocking this. It does kill it, and Rowan and the Royal Scions takes 2. There's also, I could just chump this though. He could also have the Rimrock Knight to pump to put this into 4 power, but this will still be at 1 toughness. So I think I'm fine just double blocking here. Could also chump, but it kills it at least. I can turn to a pumpkin here, but he just gets back haste. I could also just kill this and thrill. But what would I discard? I don't really want to discard any of these cards. So I think I just bounce the Inspired Veteran. I guess I can also just plus the Royal, draw and discard as well. I can also just play Lock Dragon and go from there. There's lots of options here. I could Scorching Dragonfire and make 2 tokens. I mean, first things first, I think we're plussing with Royal Scions.
I will learn what nobody yet
I do like my lands, but I do also want to keep my other cards. And then we could also just keep up all the other instances. Like I can thrill possibilities on his turn. I think that's fine. And I guess we can just say go. Because I do want to maybe kill Inspired Veteran if he tries something here. He's playing his own thrill possibilities. Sure. I don't see the Torment Grounds too often as a card people tend to play. And yeah, I don't think he can beat this. Maybe I should discard Thrill of Possibilities. Maybe that was the right choice. But just being able to activate it on his turn is really nice. But yeah, I don't think he can just win the Mad Ratter just constantly making rat tokens. That's the reason why the Knights can be a little bit bad in this set. Not only do they have a problem attacking past Merfolk Secret Keepers given their high toughness, but the blue-red deck can just make a million tokens, and then the green decks can just generate a ton of food and play the Witch Stalker on 4. And they just have too much high toughness, so that's why I'm not a big fan of the White Knight decks in general in this set. This hand is okay. We have a Lock Dragon on 4, no enablers or payoff, but I think it's still keep. The Opt can help us fix our draw step. Maybe see a Weaselback Redcap. Well, it's another Skull Cauldron on 1, so I think we just pass, and then I can maybe opt into something nice for our deck, for our hand. Another blue-red deck, okay. Improbable, this time this guy has Improbable on turn 2, so a mirror match. Runaway is okay, but I don't think we need it again. It's nice with a golden egg, but I'd rather just find something else. Ooh, Royal Scions on 3, I think I like that, but we'll just play golden egg first. And Fairy Van, and then the Tomb Raider is also nice. But I could opt and make a token and start pummeling my Royal Scions right away as well. So how do I win this? I think the only way I can win this is to have the to maybe have a Mad Ratter survive. And he could have a counter spell here too, so I'm not sure if I want to play Royal Scion into this. So I think I'm going to play the Tomb Raider instead. And the question is, do I trade off for an Improbable Alliance? Maybe. Yeah, he's definitely holding up Hypnotic Sprite. Okay, so he could have countered the Royal Scion, so I'm glad I played around it. Vantress Paladin, okay. It's quite good. Redcat Melee, though, can take it out. The question is, do I just play into his Scalding Cauldron? I could also just bounce the Vantress Paladin and just reforce him to play it, and then maybe find a better answer to this next turn. Or I can just Redcat Melee and just maybe I can bounce it back, and then next turn we can also just we can maybe Redcat Melee away and play like Royal Scions, since the Golden Egg can help us fix as well. So maybe that's just the game plan for that turn. There's another Redcat Melee. So let's see. I mean, it's a pretty fine target, and then I can start looting with the Royal Scions, which seems fine, so don't actually hate it here. Do I want to lose another red mana? I don't really want to, but we do have the Golden Egg to fix anyways. And I might want to double spell. Actually, I don't. So maybe just sacrificing an island is okay here. And then we can just play the Royal Scions and start looting away these lands. And then get some oil. Mad Ratter is excellent. Okay. And I might prefer keeping the Mad Ratter alive over the Lock Dragon as well. Because the Mad Ratter is kind of our win condition as well. We just need to make a bunch of 1/1 tokens to take him out. So might be more inclined just to play out the Lock Dragon into the Cauldron. Or the Pyromancer. I mean, Pyromancer I guess is a win condition too. So how about this? We can begin by Plessing Royal Scions. I mean, I guess I could also use the other Pless ability, because I'm not even sure if I want to loot this turn. Do I just play out Merchant and have it killed? I mean, there's a chance he ends up killing the Merchant instead. And that's fine. And I don't really want to discard a land this turn, so I think I just play out the Merchant as it is. I don't think I need to draw cards with it, so I think I'm just going to plus here and force him to use the Scalding Cauldron on it. Yeah, this is way better because I don't want to lose the other key creatures, and then next turn we can play Pyromancer and maybe start dealing with this annoying flyer or something else. Currently, so far, the opponent doesn't have any draw card spells to go with the Improbable Alliance. So he could just be playing a bunch of weird Jan cards as well, but we'll see.
A tactical error.
I think that's okay. And hopefully he doesn't have another counter spell. Slaying Fire could also be reasonable. So this turn, what can we do? I can Ironcrag Pyromancer and go for it. He doesn't have double blue, so it could actually be reasonable just to play this down. Otherwise, I could play Lock Dragon, but I'd rather have either Mad Ratter or Pyromancer first. Pyromancer is a much more useful card. This is interesting. He could have removal to kill this next turn, so maybe Mad Ratter is the way to go. And then maybe we can still chump the Queen of Ice, so I think I'll just play this out instead. And then just plus with the Royal Scions.
My plan
and then
is
discard the land. Because I'd rather have him use removal on the Mad Ratter over the Pyromancer, so... And you know how these decks are, they usually have a ton of removal, so... I'm fine if he uses Scorching on this over Pyromancer or the whatchamacallit, the other card. Fine chumping the Queen of Ice. Yep, and he had one anyway, so that was a smart play. And I'll chump the Queen of Ice for sure. And then hopefully he's out of removal. If I get a land, I could play Slaying and the Ironcrag Pyromancer, so that could be pretty interesting. But I'm not going to do that this turn because we're going to just play the Pyromancer and we're just going to plus. And the question is, what do I discard? Moonlit Scavengers is okay, but it's kind of expensive, so I think that can go. And then we can just take out the flyer instead. And then I think I might be fine playing land and Slaying Fire to Queen of Ice. I mean, 1 damage isn't going to matter that much. Yeah, let's just Slaying Fire this. And then attack for 1. And then Pyromancer, if she stays alive, is just going to lock down the game. Could have another one. Frogify, I mean, it's not the worst, but it's still not good for me. I mean, I guess I do have a bounce spell to deal with this. So I can bounce back the Ironcrag Pyromancer anyways. He can loop back some artifacts like Scalding Cauldron, which is really annoying. So Emery is also quite powerful here. Quarter Monitor. I could also just plus an attack, but I think I need to plus and draw into some answers here, so I think I like the Royal Scions. And then, do I even care about the Quarter Monitor? Not really. So maybe that can go, and I can play Lock Dragon instead. And a Tome Raider. Alright, I guess he's going to kill my Lock Dragon next turn with the Emery, but I was hoping I can draw into something here. And then, yeah, he can just get back to Scalding Cauldron, which is quite good for him. Yeah, the only way I can see myself winning this is maybe taking out Emery, maybe getting back the turn into a pumpkin, and going from there. I mean, I guess I have plenty of removal too to deal with the Emery, so that's also important to note. Broom, okay. So he can just keep looping the stack ability over and over, so opponent's playing a really good game against us. Quarter Monitor can block though, but I still think we maybe plus first and see what we get.
I will learn what
Rill, the Rill is nice, and can allow us to draw even deeper into the deck, so I think I actually like just ditching the Quarter Monitor here, playing the Tome Raider. and then using Thrill on the and thrilling away the land, and then we can maybe draw into a land into Scorching Dragonfire or something, and then we'll say go. He can loop back the Scalding Cauldron, activate it, and make another broom. So opponent kind of has an infinite combo going. Golden Egg, okay, he's doing that instead. I guess he'd rather draw cards. That's fine. We can eventually just ultimate Royal Scions, hopefully, and just kill him, but he's just gonna do this. He might just take out my flyer. At least he doesn't make a token. And I still have a 1/1 chump blocker against the 2/1. Royal Scions will take 1, but it's okay. Need to just take out Emery, I guess, and then just win from there. And again, we do have Runaway Together and turn into a pumpkin as well. And I think I'm blocking the 2/1, given that he can just make multiple tokens. And this is just a really important creature to just deal with. So, this is fine.
Rowan, help!
Give me something Lock Dragon. The second one seems good, and I can also counter it with the Hypnotic Sprite, so I think we'll try this. Do I just decline? I think I decline to keep up the counter spell, and then I can just plus here.
Let me
And I like both of these cards, but it's probably still the Very Vandal here. I mean, it's probably just still the Hypnotic Sprite to counter the kill spell. So I think we discard Fairy Vandal and say go. Maybe should have kept the land so I don't discard my playables, but we'll see. But I really need to deal with Emery. And it's cast, so I can counter it. Hopefully he doesn't have his own counter spell. Yeah, this is going to be a little bit hard to win because I'm not only do I need to kill the opponent before I deck myself, but I need to like get the Ironcrag Pyromancer online. So I'm not sure if I'm going to win this, honestly. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to win this, especially if he kills this. So I'm probably just going to concede after this. I don't know. And he has my creature on lockdown, so it's not looking great. Dragonfire, okay. So let's just, I guess we plus first.
My plan is crystallizing.
If this doesn't resolve, I'm just going to concede. Yeah, I'm just going to deck myself, so don't think I can win this. Yeah, I'm just going to deck myself. I guess it's a May ability, so I don't really have to discard. But it's also going to be difficult for me to enable the Ironcrag Pyromancer. Yeah, I'll probably just lose. I'm just going to concede. He just has too much value. I mean, I'm just digging throughout my deck too far, and then he's just too ahead of me, and he just managed to deal with all my threats, so... If I was able to keep a bounce spell to bounce the Ironcrag Pyromancer, that would have been great. But the Runaway Together is just not a good card to draw into on turn 2. I mean, not a card that I'm not interested in opting into on turn 2, especially if I've turned into a pumpkin in the deck. And then here, what do we have? I mean, it's okay. We can thrill to find some things. We have a nice defensive card on turn 2. We're on the draw. So I think it's a reasonable keep as well. Wildwood Tracker on turn 1, obviously. Just a typical aggressive deck. Might just actually play Mountain in case I get Slaying Fire. But I highly doubt I need to Slaying Fire for 4 on turn 3. So the opponent's just going to do mono Wildwood Trackers and try to smash me to death. Makes sense. Weaselback. Probably just going to kill the Weaselback next turn. We'll see. I mean, both of these are going to be 4 power anyways. Could actually let the attack happen first to see what goes on. Pretty interesting. I think I still kill the Weaselback here. Because he can pump it eventually to attack past things. That's not good. So. Whereas if I find my Quarter Monitor, maybe I stay alive. Mad Ratter on 4. I think I just play Golden Egg then. Ooh, that's a good blocker. Alright, I don't hate that, and I can use this end of turn 2 to find some more answers to things. Eventually, if I get my Mad Ratter down in Thrill of Possibilities, I can just win the game that way. I could also keep the Merchant for a turn 5 play. And the opponent did miss a land drop this turn, so, I mean, as long as I survive, I stabilize with maybe the Merchant, we should be fine. And if he wants to go all out, that's also fine with me. Hopefully nothing here. No lands. Okay, no lands. This is interesting. Might actually use the Merchant here. I mean, Merchant here could be okay. But I think it's fine to just say go, I guess. And Quarter Monitor is nice. So maybe we can play land into, like, I guess, Mad Ratter this turn, and hopefully we don't die. If he has a removal spell, I'll take 4. And then it's going to look kind of awkward, but I can still play Quarter Monitor into, like, Merchant of the Veil, hopefully. Because I think Mad Ratter is kind of like the only way we can actually win this game, I think, so I'm going to just get him out. And then hopefully he just doesn't kill it. But I can definitely survive here, if I need to. And there's definitely no blocks. Okay, take 4. Alright, and this is our turn to stay alive, I guess. We can Merchant next turn and then play Quarter Monitor. Yeah, we can discard this, I guess. So so the play I like this turn is we can play Merchant of the Veil, discard the Mystic Sanctuary, play out a Quarter Monitor, and then play a land, and then we can Thrill a Possibility on his turn, getting rid of the Quarter Monitor. So I think I like that. That's a good one. Sure. I guess the Trample is now relevant, so we'll see. I can still block one of these, so yeah, that's just in response. Thrill away the Quarter Monitor. So I guess this can block here and then block here. I think we're dead if we don't. I guess we want to block here, and then I guess we still survive by 1 if we do this. Alternatively, there's another block. I could just lose my quarter monitor and that's fine. And I can just block this way. This way I only take, this way I only fall down to 2. But I do lose quarter monitor, which can be kind of bad. But I think this is the safest play, so I think I'm just going to block like this. And hopefully just don't die to 1 trample damage. And then I could keep up a counter spell. Although, yeah, I probably want to play Tome Raider and keep up a counter spell so I don't get owned by like a Slaying Fire. And then I think we'll play out the land, attack for 1, and say go. So we can keep up the counter spell and the Golden Egg. And then next turn we can play Lock Dragon and also sack to gain life so we don't, again, die. I mean, if I sack here, he could Slaying Fire and kill me, so maybe I just say go. And then I can just sack now and keep up the counter spell. I think that's the safest approach. So I think I just do this main phase and see if he has like a Slaying Fire to respond. And if he does, I'll just counter it. Because he probably has something here, I think. Since he's holding on to priority, and if he tries to Slaying Fire, I can counter it, so yep. Played around that one. It's called next level play, folks. And I should have maybe cut the rat back because he could have a haste creature here, so that can be kind of scary. So hopefully no hasty 4-1. Just a 2-3. I could also just bounce this back, although I don't have my quarter monitor. I can play a Lock Dragon. There's lots of options. I think it's fine for me to maybe just bounce this back and then just attack. And also makes a food token to keep me alive, so I think I like that. And we also get a bunch of creatures, so I think I like this. And then we can attack with all. So also just stack the food so I don't end up getting killed and owned. So yeah, we got him. I've had a feeling he had a Slaying Fire in his hand. It's called next level play, folks, so keep that in mind. If this was in real life against another opponent, like a person, it would be much harder to pull off. But on a computer, it's easy since you can always know whether or not you pass priority and they're holding it up. So, guess we get some. That was pretty advantageous for us. Royal on 3, I mean, can I really say no to Royal? I mean, if I'm playing against an aggressive deck, it can be kind of weird, but I'm on the play, so yeah, let's do the Scions on 3. And then I think I'll leave the island because I might want Adamant to turn to Pumpkin on turn 4. Hopefully no 1-drop, and there it is. Darn. I mean, it was a little bit risky, but Royal Scions on 3 is great, but hopefully he doesn't... Hopefully no 2-drop this turn, and he just hits me for 1. He's nothing. Hushbringer. I guess Hushbringer isn't that bad, but it also denies the Tome Raider a card, so it's a little bit awkward. If I plus this, I don't think he can kill it. Huh. This is very interesting. I could just play out Tome Raider to trade, though. That could also be quite reasonable. But I do want to just dig towards some answers, so I think I'm just going to play the Royal Scions here.
I will
And just
steady
plus.
your mind, Rowan.
Alright,
What
and
is
I
my
think I want to
strategy
take out the Hushbringer eventually, so we'll see. Attacking me? Wow. Wow, I don't know respect for Royal Scions. I mean, it's a great card. So I do like maybe Scorching Dragonfire on the Hushbringer. Or keep up turn into a pumpkin. I think we plus first, of course.
I will learn
Slaying
what
Fire is
nobody
great.
yet knows.
So we'll see. I could just turn the pumpkin to 2/2 on his turn. And then Scorching Dragonfire away the Hushbringer. If I draw a land next turn and go from there. I think we'll just say go and see what the opponent tries here. That's a little bit annoying. I guess I can just turn it now. Or turn the token. I guess if we turn a token, he loses it, so I'd rather just turn the token. We'll see. And this way we can look deeper and maybe double spell next turn with Scorching into Tome Raider. Fireborn Knight is a good target to remove. Ooh, Mad Ratter is also awesome. Don't mind just playing Mad Ratter then, if we can just make a bunch of tokens. So I don't mind that. Let's just try this. Another Tome Raider is awesome. Runaway is also quite decent. So I'm thinking I just get rid of the Thrill of Possibilities. Although we could use it on his turn next turn. It's just anti-card advantage, so I think it's okay. And then maybe we can chump both of these creatures, and then we'll see. I think I'm chumping here. Wow, the opponent has no respect for the Royal Scions. I mean, yeah, I think we just chump so we stay alive, and then we can make tokens next turn, continuously chump, and then Ultimate Scion, draw a million cards and kill him. Double Scorching Dragonfire, I guess that's reasonable too, but let's plus first.
To know is to triumph.
I think I'm keeping the land here because we desperately need it. I do like all these spells though, but maybe one Tome Raider can just go. We can play land, and then what can I do? I guess I can use like Scorching on the Fireborn Knight and keep up a Slaying Fire. That seems alright. And then next turn we can utilize the Royal Scions, and then we can just say go. Might just end of turn deal with the Hushbringer. Okay. Wow, all to the face. No respect. And I think I'll pass priority here. Could just take out the Hushbringer now, so we can draw cards next turn. I also want, I mean, Slaying Fire is better, but maybe we just use it here for mana efficiency. I think I will. And hopefully it doesn't have a pump trick. Alright, that's fine. And we essentially just win with Rowan here. Deal 4 to any target is pretty insane, and we just draw a million cards. He just plays a Resolute Rider into it. Wow. Alright, no respect. We're going to teach him a lesson, so...
Will surely overcome you.
I could just shoot him in the face, though. Like, maybe that's reasonable, too. And then I can just play out a Quarter Monitor as well as a good blocker. Play red, keep up red cap melee. Could even kill the Ginger Brute and stack a land if I want to. Wild Pyromancer. That's even better. I can even plus an attack.
A quest of mystery.
Maybe I should just, yeah, I should plus the power instead. A little bit of a misplay there, and then we can just take out the unicorn and kill him. So I highly doubt we can win this. I mean, I could just put 2 guys in front of this, I mean, because we're just going to make a million rat tokens anyways. And that's fine, and then we can just keep plussing and kill him. Yeah, I think this game is just about over, so now what we can do is we can bounce a token. Bounce Tome Raider, because we want to attack. And then, yeah, he's just dead. The opponent basically just forced mono white. But the fact that he ignored my Planeswalker, I think, was what cost him the game. Even though he wanted to get my life points very low, it's really risky. Just keeping up a Planeswalker around, and never really got to ultimate. Never actually ever ultimated Royal Scion, so that was quite fun. Alright, do we keep it again? I mean, we have Slaying Fire. The last opponent was a little bit too, didn't really care about this, but I mean, we do it. I mean, it's a Royal Scion, so I mean, what can I say? Is it another turn 1 Beloved Princess? Is this guy gonna hit me in the face again? I think he might. Probably gonna lose away Scavengers next turn to hopefully find some creatures that can block well. But sorry guys, I was choking. Then I can play this on turn 3 hopefully and stay alive. So Scavengers can go. A little bit too expensive for now. Another Lock Dragon, sure. Tome Raider isn't bad on turn 3, so yeah. We'll take a bit of a beating, play Tome Raider. Hopefully draw into land for the Lock Mirror, the Lock Dragon, or take out at least one of these creatures. We'll see. Deny the keep, okay. Tomb Raider seems nice. We can take 3 and then maybe block one of these creatures. He could also use a removal spell, but if we play a flyer, then it's most likely that he can't really remove it, so we'll see. Now the question is, do I trade Lock Dragon for Knight of the Keep? It's actually not unreasonable, because I do want to protect Royal Scions. I could also use Slaying Fire on it as well. Arcanist Owl, I guess I want to Slaying Fire instead. Opponent has a lot of tempo. It's going to be a little bit difficult to win this if I don't get my land drops and just take him out. Ooh, that's a good one. Okay, guess I'll take 3. Next turn, if he tries to play it and then and you use it on a creature, I can respond with like a Slaying Fire, and that could be fine. Alternatively, maybe I'm fine just playing out the Lock Dragon. But I might want to set up something where I can like double spell in a single turn, and that could be quite nice. I could also just run out the Royal Scions and then force the opponent to do something there. But let's see. I might be forced to chump then. I have no idea. Maybe I'm forced to just play Lock Dragon and trade. Maybe that makes the most sense. And then, do I just get rid of the second Tomb Raider? I think I might have to, given that I don't want to lose my lands, and then it's probably the weakest card in our hand anyways. So, ooh, Quarter Monitor. So that's great. That can block off maybe Knight of the Keep and the other rest of the creatures. And then I can also keep up Slaying Fire if he tries to enhance them. So, just need to survive against this, I guess, and then we were able to win. I think I'm trading for the 3/3. If I double block, I mean, he could have the pump trick, but I can't really play around it. I kind of had to force this trade because, yeah, he probably has the untap trick, but it's not like, again, I can play around it in this spot, so. Ooh, I can keep up both removal spells. So that can also be pretty interesting. But I might just play out a Quarter Monitor and maybe force him to put counters elsewhere to see what we can do. So I think I'm just going to say go here and pass the turn. He might put on Knight of the Keep, and I can maybe respond with a removal spell, take 3 in the air, block the rest of the ground creatures. And I might Slaying Fire again just for efficiency. So basically we just need to survive, hopefully, and then we can just win the game. Because now I know that he has this. I need to make sure I can just block everything and just win the game that way, so we'll see. So I'm hoping he main phases this onto like the Arcanist Owl, and I can just respond with like a Slaying Fire. That would be awesome. And let's see which one he puts it on. That's a good target. Sure. Don't need to use Slaying Fire now. Next turn we can play Merchant of Vale. I could also just play the Lock Dragon and keep up Scorching Dragonfire, although I do need I would have to be forced to discard, so maybe it's best to just play out the Merchant and then keep up the Scorching, or maybe I play out the Royal Scions and maybe force them to attack into it, which could also be reasonable. So yeah, maybe Scions. Maybe this is the turn to Royal Scions here.
You'd better
We could
hope
just
you
plus.
delay our quest no further.
And Runaway together is quite nice, although, yeah, Runaway could be a nice interaction spell in case something bad happens, so I think we just pass the turn. And then if he tries to load up a counter on the Arcanist Owl, I can still respond by killing it, hopefully. And I can still chump it, I guess, as well, so I can also just Scorching on the... Even if he keeps this alive with a pump spell, I can still chump it, and my 1/4 can go into something else. Yeah, I think that's fine. I can always double block this and take out the Arcanist Owl, I guess. Or just bounce it back, we'll see. Attacking the face. Okay. So I could chump here, and then block, and then force him to pump, and then run away together. I mean, that could also just be a reasonable play, honestly. He could have like a outflank here. Second quarter monitor is great. So I think I think I can just main phase this if I can, but I think we still loot with the Royal Signs first.
Let me synthesize.
Ooh, that's also awesome. Yeah, that's also a really good card. So maybe I can just ditch the Tome Raider. I know it draws me a card and gives me a flyer, but maybe I just want to keep up a counterspell next turn. So I think we just maybe ditch the Tome Raider. And then we can play a second quarter monitor, I guess. And then maybe keep up a Hidden Eye Strike. Although, maybe just main phasing this now is correct. Yeah, maybe it's fine. And if he wants to put a counter on this, I can always just double block it and I'm okay, so let's just say go. Next turn we can hopefully keep up counterspell with Merchant of the Veil. You can pump this twice, which can't necessarily kill a double block, but I'm planning to definitely double block the Jousting Dummy if I can. Walker, okay. So he can only pump this once, but I do have good ground blockers. So I could actually just play this as a 2/1, and then just play Lock Dragon, or maybe Merchant is fine. I can still block everything off. Huh, this is interesting. So he's planning to maybe put a counter onto the Hengewalker next turn. So maybe it's fine still plussing here with the Royal Scions.
I enjoy the
Pyromancer. I definitely want to keep the Pyromancer around, so maybe I just ditch the Lock Dragon, as weird as it seems. It's definitely a really good card I can keep up, but maybe I just need to keep up enough blockers to not die. Can always just play the Pyromancer, I guess. Since white typically doesn't have a ton of removal, I could just play the Pyromancer as just a random ground blocker. Huh. Ditching a land here doesn't seem great either, so this is hard. But maybe it's something I have to do. Maybe it's still land, and then hopefully I can resolve the Pyromancer next turn, so maybe it's something like this. And then this, and then hopefully we just stay alive. And then we could just block everything else and just hopefully not die, so we'll see. Because if I'm able to just play the Pyromancer and just plus, I guess I can just clean up his board and win the game that way. If he does have the go wide pump trick, then I'm just pretty much dead. So. I guess it's called the 4 mana, the Anthem effect, where if you cast it for Adamant White, you just put 1/1 counters everywhere and everything gains vigilance. I'm pretty much dead if he does that, I think. I guess not, I can still chump with 2 and then block the rest of them, but it's going to be pretty difficult to win from that spot. And I might have to ultimate the Royal Scions if that does happen, so we'll see. I mean, ultimating this isn't bad, like sure I lose it, but then I still have the Lock Dragon that can start enabling the Pyromancer, so it could be actually reasonable just to do it next turn to take out the Hengewalker. Maybe we just chump it and go from there, so we'll see. Hopefully he doesn't have the Anthem effect. Alright, he needs to take it out, so we can do our good blocks this turn. This can go here. This can go here. This can go... I guess I won't be able to ultimate it, but maybe this just goes here, and then this one just goes here. And then we're fine. So I don't mind this. Royal Signs can take 3. Like, if I take 1 from it, I can't ultimate it anyway, so I might as well have it take 3. And there's no instant speed Anthem effect in this set, like Inspired Charge. So he would have used the sorcery, put 1/1 counters everywhere. Pre-combat if he was to pump his team, so I think this is fine. And if he has that untapped trick, that's also fine. Pyromancer can just maybe snipe the Hengewalker next turn and go from there, so we'll see. Maybe an outflank. Yep.
Cover my back, Rowan!
And we should be able to win this game if he doesn't have any crazy flyers. Don't care about Jousting Dummy, so yeah, we should be able to win this. So we just play the Pyromancer. And then we'll just wait until he concedes here. But I guess not.
A quest of
Let's discard the land. And then we can just block the Jousting Dummy, block the Knight of Keep, and then just block everything and win the game that way. Block, block, block. Blocking these both, that's a little bit interesting. Probably block here and then block here, forcing the double pump in a sense. I could also block for the Pyromancer, but I think this is fine. This is a little bit safer. And I'm fine if he wants to pump all the way up just to kill this. And then we can just play Lock Dragon or Trojan Pumpkin and just win the game that way. I guess we can just plus the Royal Scions, it doesn't really matter. Plussing first could just give us a card. Can allow us to maybe look through more options, so yeah, I don't think he can win this. The value is just too extreme. And the quarter monitors have been doing a lot of work, just the 1 power actually does matter against white opponents like him, so actually quite happy that I threw in 2 of them into deck. So I don't get run over by these types of decks, and I can just win with like my payoff cards. Alright, so 4-1, let's keep this up. Alright, I mean, we have our payoffs. If we can survive and get to turn 4 and maybe draw a card off of them, it's okay, but it's also kind of risky. And given that we have both colors, I think we keep... Hopefully not against another aggro deck, but Scorching Dragonfire is really nice. And I'm glad I actually took it over the Slaying Fire, since it wasn't much of a difference except just having the extra efficiency of casting this, paying 2 mana for this. Well, I think I'm killing that. Otherwise, he's just going to draw too many cards off of it. And then next turn we can play the tap land into maybe like a Golden Egg. Because if he's just drawing cards off of this, it's just going to be absurd, and I can't beat that. So actually quite happy that I took this out right away. Spinning Wheel to tap things down, that's fine. Much more of a defensive card. I think I'm still playing this tapped because I don't think we're going to get to Adamant Blue yet, but let's draw first. We can eventually get there, but I'm still playing this tapped. And then I can leave with the Mad Ratter and hopefully it survives. Hopefully he doesn't play a creature into Outmuscle. Otherwise I might have to just play the Lock Dragon first. Maybe I just play the Lock Dragon first. Because then if it's still almost the same thing, because if I attack with the Lock Dragon next turn, it still enables the Mad Ratter. And then it's just, this is a little bit more safer, so I think it's fine just playing the Mountain, playing Lock Dragon, and then I guess we can discard red mana since we have more blue Adamant payoffs, and then just go from there. He can grow this pretty large, but maybe we can chump block this all day as a win condition, so we'll see. And if he fights this, it would be pretty annoying as well, so 4/4 is not necessarily the most easiest to deal with. I also don't mind just sacrificing a land and taking this out if he doesn't grow it next turn right away before it grows out of hand, so hopefully no big green creature here. And I'm not blocking. And this is a sign he might not have a fight spell, but he might just attack with this pre-combat anyways. And hopefully no green creature to grow this. Because Yorvil is definitely very scary if he can grow really large right away. So we might have to be forced to run away together, perhaps. Okay, that's fine. And so I could play Mad Ratter and attack and trade. Like, the trade isn't actually that bad, actually. And then use Red Cap Melee to finish off maybe the Yorbo. This is a cast, right? No, it's an enter the battlefield ability, so. The Runaway is okay. I like all these cards, but it's probably just the Runaway because I have a Tome Raider that can draw as a card. So yeah, sure. Or maybe it's Tome Raider. But I like the efficiency of Tome Raider, just making a 1/1 and just drawing a card, so I think this is fine. He blocks, and then on his upkeep, I guess I can try to kill Yorbo. And hopefully no Pump Trick. But by doing this, it makes him use up the mana for his turn. And then that's nice. We can sacrifice an island because we have one already. And then hopefully we can just win the game with the other cards. This denies him like a card that he can draw into that can allow him to pump Yorvo. So I think that was reasonable. And then as long as he doesn't deal with... Oh, okay. I mean, it's still a 3/3, so even if he takes it out, it's still fine. And yeah, we still have some payoffs in the deck, like Fairy Vandal and Ironcrag Pyromancer. But yeah, we managed to deal with the opponent's threats early on, so hopefully we can close out the game and he doesn't have the sweeper, the board wipe that also makes like a 4/4 giant. Forgot what it's called, but I don't think we play around it this early. Ardent Bell Tactician is good. Probably still fine playing Lock Dragon main phase, and we can discard a mountain. And I'm fine playing out of land too, because I'm not going to win if I don't hit my land drops. Attack for 3. There you go. It's kind of crazy how he can cast this right away in the deck that's also playing a double white card, so Yorvo's good, but it's interesting how some people can just do this. You could have a board wipe here, but I still don't think we block. It's a little bit strange how he's attacking, but it's a sign he has a board wipe, and if he does, then that's going to be hard to beat. But I guess he doesn't care. He could have an untapped trick, but I'm still attacking here. Maybe should main face Tome Raider in case he has an untapped trick, so I can maybe respond to the Ardenvale Tactician. But I'm still attacking with all, I think. Hopefully he doesn't have the 7/7 Giants. Because of the dumb untapped trick, but I guess the untapped trick is 3 mana, so I think it's okay. And then we can play a main phase Tome Raider. And then opt is nice. We can opt end of turn or opt now. I think it's better to just opt end of turn to see what's up first. So I think I'll play Mountain Pass, and then we can sack the food and gain 2 life, 3 life, and also opt end of turn. We'll see. I'm fine also with the attack. I mean, him attacking aggressively like this kind of makes me wonder if he has the sweep or not, because it's a little bit of a weird play, especially since he's the one he's the one losing the race in the long run. So, all right, I think we just opt here. Don't think we need another island. I mean, and then we can just sacrifice the golden egg to gain 3 life. Just in our land. Guess I'm still attacking here. Deny me the card advantage is always smart, so. Eventually I'll draw into some action, hopefully. But I'm definitely swinging here. Cut the untapped trick and ambush my 3/3 this turn. Yep, and he has it. Okay. I think I was still fine attacking. He can play a 2/1, I might have to stay back, we'll see. I can always attack with 1 rat and 1 flyer and keep the other one back, I guess, so. Ooh, that's a good one. I guess it takes 5 mana to equip, so it's not necessarily the best play for the turn. Opponent stays back, probably playing to tap the Lock Dragon, and then... Alright, we can turn to a Pumpkin. I don't really like turning to Pumpkin the Ardenvale Tactician, but I can definitely turn into Pumpkin the Tome Raider. And I can also do for Animate, so I don't mind just spending a turn, just play lands, they go, and then if he tries to equip, I can block this and bounce my own Tome Raider, so that seems reasonable. Sure. I guess I can also just bounce the weapon as well, so that's also quite a decent play. The Tome Raider does give me more card advantage, so I might consider doing that instead. If he taps down my Tome Raider though, then I guess I bounce the weapon, but if he doesn't, then I can still bounce the Tome Raider, and I can just draw a bunch of cards still and hopefully find my win conditions and win from there. So we'll see. Because it's not... Bouncing both of these cards aren't really good, so... I think we just pass the turn and... Yeah, I might just bounce Tome Raider end of turn if he does nothing. Because in that way I can just generate more card advantage. And I'm not really scared of decking myself, so let's just do this. I don't think there's any instant speed response outside of Outflank that can destroy this. And it's not even attacking, so... Just going to draw a bunch of cards here, and then we can sacrifice some food to also gain some life so we don't die. And then once we find the Pyromancer, we should be able to win. Scorching Dragonfire is also nice. I think we just use it now. Another untap trick. Wow, I mean, at least it's gone. I think I'm drawing a card first then. Should have drawn the card first, actually, because we could turn into a pumpkin it, but we can still turn into a pumpkin in the turn. Let's move to combat. I think I'm fine trading the Lock Dragon. And then we'll say go. Use turn to a pumpkin on my Tome Raider if he tries to do that trick again. Yeah, I mean, I wasn't expecting that, but honestly, it was his last card, so I think it was fine going for it. I guess he gets a draw card here now. It's because it's a cast trigger, that's pretty annoying. Yep. And hopefully we can find our win conditions ASAP, because I don't want to deck myself. I'm hoping Rowan and the Pyromancer aren't at the bottom of my library. Oh yeah, this is hard. If he's just going to do this, then it's going to be pretty annoying. Don't think I'm bouncing this either. I'm fine actually just taking 2. Bouncing this would enable attack, but then he can tap stuff down, so it doesn't seem great. Slaying Dragonfire, however, does seem really good, so I think we just do it without Adamant. And I think I'm attacking the Lock Dragon and the Flyer. And Hypnotic Sprite is awesome, so I'm going to keep up both my instances, and I should be able to survive this, so we'll see go. I can also bounce the Spinning Wheel end of turn, and then just attack him for a 4 in the air as well, so that's also cool. We'll see. Fine taking 3, I can also double block it if I want to, since this effectively holds off the 1/1s. Golden Egg I can also just counter. I mean, countering the Golden Egg isn't that bad of an idea, actually. But maybe it's fine letting it resolve, since I might want to still... I mean, he's going to gain 3 life up to 8, but I can still, like, enable an attack by bouncing the Spinning Wheel, so we'll see. I guess I'm double blocking this and taking 2. And I'm fine bouncing the Spinning Wheel back end of turn and gaining life and drawing cards if he does nothing. Youthful Knight isn't scary, like I could counter this, but honestly I don't really care, so I think I'm going to let this resolve. And I'd rather just bounce a Spinning Wheel end of turn instead, so... So he can't bounce my dragon, and I can just attack for 4. He's going to go up to 8 to 4, and then he's forced to recast the Spinning Wheel to stay alive. I guess I can also counter the Spinning Wheel with the Hypnotic Sprite as well when he tries to recast it next turn, so... Alright. And it's nice because now we have a land stack to our Lock Dragon, so we're just going to move to combat, attack with both, and then we can counter it to Spinning Wheel. And Royal Scions is awesome, so I think I just cast them. I mean, yeah, let's have some fun.
It seems we've encountered another puzzle on our quest.
And I can even play out Quarter Monitor to block them, so that's kind of hilarious. And I'll just counter the whatchamacallit, the Spinning Wheel when he plays it, so Yep. Alright, alright. Hopefully I can finish this draft because I only have like 15 minutes left of recording. But this deck was definitely really busted. So, 2 more wins, okay. But these matches are definitely long and grindy if I'm doing the whole blue-red deck plan, so can't really complain. And I'm also doing very well. Royal Scions on 3, Tome Raider, turn to a pumpkin, still gonna keep. Ooh, we can flash in Fairy Vandal into Tome Raider, okay. I haven't seen this card yet. I haven't, on the first game I did curve out with him, but this is looking quite nice. I can flash in Tome Raider end of turn, and then flash in Fairy Vandal, and then play Tome Raider to turn afterwards to trade for the Jousting Dummy, so that's kind of neat. And if this survives, then even better. Golden Egg is also interesting, but I think it's just Tome Raider, and then we just attack for 2. Because I'm not planning to block this. Fine taking 3, and then hopefully I can maybe turn this into a pumpkin next turn. But now this can block the 2-1, which is awesome, so... Could also just play Royal Scions, honestly, but turning this into a pumpkin could actually be better, who knows. I'll take 4. Reasonable attack, of course. And hopefully he doesn't play anything scary like the Fireborn Knights. And that's actually more scary. Interesting, could just play Royal Scions plus attack, keep the 1-1 back, and then he might be incentivized to attack the Royal Scions, although maybe just turning this into a pumpkin is better. And I think I want to do main phase to get the bonus, right? Maybe just bouncing Fireborn Knight could be better, although he could just attack me for 4, and then while this can chump, so maybe we just turn the 3-2 into a pumpkin instead. Do I mind if this pumping? I'll be taking 4. If he pumps, I'll be taking 6, but I'll still be alive, so I think this is okay. Sirkara, that's good. Now Sirkara can ping down my 2-1. I could play the Royal Scions and maybe block the Fireborn Knights. If he pumps it, though, it's going to result in a trade, which isn't not necessarily the most advantageous. I guess I can also attack with both and then use Quarter Monitor to untap. I think we want to maybe draw first, though. Maybe it's fine using Merchant here. Huh. So can I do everything? This is 4 mana plus 2. That would be 6. So I guess we can't. Very interesting choice here. I think I like the Quarter Monitor, although this just kills it, right? But it doesn't tap the Fairy Vandal for the turn, so maybe we're just fine running out Rowan.
You'd better hope you delay our quest no further.
My answers lie in
Slaying
the
Fire.
truth.
I think we just ditch the Mystic Sanctuary at this point. Play land, and then guess we attack for 1. I guess maybe I want to keep this back and then keep up the rest of the blockers. Fine trading for the Fireborn Knight at this point. I mean, this is a win condition, but maybe I can't win like this. I just need to keep this back so I don't die. So I think we just hit no attacks and we play the golden egg and say go. I'm fine chumping the 2/3 if he wants to ping down my 1/1 and attack with this. I could technically take 6 down to 4, but it's a little bit too risky. A slaying fire, I mean a scorching the 5 mana removal will be pretty devastating here as well. So maybe I'm hoping to just trade for the Fireborn Knight next turn take out Zerkara, and then hopefully draw into our other win conditions because yeah, 10 life this is kind of difficult to deal with. Science can hopefully just win me the game. The right play could have just been the Quarter Monitor, honestly, and I think I'm blocking the Fireborn Knight. He could pump this once, but then if he Rimrock Knights, it's kind of bad. But I don't think I really have a choice in that circumstance. Yeah, I think I'm blocking this, and then if he wants to pump the trade, that's fine. I can't really afford to take all this, and hopefully no Rimrock Knights. Okay, the trade is good. And then I can Slaying Fire this. Yeah, I'll pay Adamant for it too. It's totally fine. And then I can also Still Plus.
Let me
Moonlit
synthesize
Scavengers
the
isn't that bad. But I would need my extra land anyways. Maybe it's still fine ditching the land. Or maybe Merchant can go. I do like the Moonlit Scavengers, not gonna lie. But maybe still the land can go. And then I'm fine playing out the Quarter Monitor and say go from there. And then I'm fine trading for the Jousting Dummy if he has it, so. Just need to make sure that Zerkara doesn't draw in like a million cards and I can just stay alive. Hopefully. That's okay. I can move with Scavengers that if I draw a land, so. Although I can kill it, maybe. I guess that's even better. Alright, wow. Sweet. This deck was pretty busted. Okay, let's move on to the final boss. Hopefully win it quickly because I, again, don't have enough time for this recording. Otherwise, I need to make a short part 2 video. Just going through the deck, of course, but... Alright, so 6-1, let's keep playing. Hopefully we can get up to 7 wins to go 950 and win the game from there. Alright, final boss. Probably not going to finish recording this since I have 6 minutes left, but might just have to make a part 2 video, we'll see. And opening hand, we're on the play, Fairy Vandal, yeah. Fairy Vandal into like Turn to Pumpkin or Mad Ratter is pretty awesome, so we have 2 win conditions against a rank 7 mythic opponent, so this should be a really fun final boss. We'll see. And we're on the play too, so that's even better. This and the Tomb Raider is so gross, so I'm hoping I can draw the Tomb Raider. And luckily enough, I haven't faced against any ooh, wow, okay, yeah, we're definitely doing it. We didn't face against any mill decks yet, so that's really surprising. No blue-black mill decks. And hopefully he doesn't kill this, but we're flashing this end of turn because it is the right play. And if he have an answer, at least maybe I can, maybe Mad Ratter can help us stabilize. But he could have a Scorching here in response. We'll see. Wow, he just holds priority. Could just attack first, but I mean, if he has a Scorching Dragonfire, he has one. Like, if I attack first and hit for 1, he's probably going to respond, but it doesn't really matter. I think we're still playing Tome Raider anyways, and he's going to respond here. That's fine. We still get the draw, and then hopefully we can play Mad Ratter, have that survive, and then just go from there. I could also wait till like I get to land 5 with it, or just play it out. Like, it wouldn't be wrong waiting until land 5, because by turning to a pumpkin now, I can at least like maybe hope to draw land and then activate Opt with Mad Ratter, which could be better. So I think I'm just going to attack for 1 and say go. If he plays something pre-combat, I can just bounce it, because he might want to get the attack trigger. If he just attacks, I'm just going to bounce it though. And there's no counter spells here. If he plays blue and counters my turn in pumpkin, I'm going to cry. Okay, he's just going to do this. And then pre-combat, we can bounce the Red Cat Raiders because it just costs us more mana. And I can also force him to tap this. I mean, that can also be reasonable, so we'll just say go. Let the tap trigger happen, and then we're just going to turn this into a pumpkin. And hopefully we get a land to opt with the Mad Ratter as well. So we're just going to waste his time. And then hopefully we get a land, please. No land. I mean, do I just play it out? It's not unreasonable, but I can also just play a Quarter Monitor and hold this off. And then, I mean, I can play Golden Egg and the Quarter Monitor, which is a little bit more safer, because I do want to get a trigger off of this. And he might be more inclined to just, use the removal on the Quarter Monitor instead, which I prefer, so we'll say go. And definitely going to block the 2/2. Ooh, that's a good one. Okay. I mean, at least maybe like rat tokens can block it, so I think I'm fine with this. I can turn this into a pumpkin eventually, but I think it's the Mad Ratter time, and maybe we can opt into something nice, so. Rock Dragon is nice, so I think we keep it on top. And I'm fine jumping the Rampart Smasher, attack for 1 in the air. Say go. And hopefully he's out of removal. We're definitely chumping here. It's funny how Knights can't block, but Reds can block. That's a pretty interesting thing to notate. And then hopefully he doesn't have removal for my Mad Ratter. I can just make a million tokens and win the game that way. Oh, okay, that's going to block out the flyer. I can counter the Red Cat Raiders. Huh. But my mana is basically stacked here. Do I even want to counter this? That's the only question. It's nice just countering it though. But what do I do? Do I just discard the Moonlit Scavengers? I guess I do. Because if this 5/5 is just going to stay back, it's just going to hold the ground all day. I could also just turn to Pumpkin and then just skip this turn of doing anything else. There's also the Merchant play where I do discard the Moonlit Scavengers, which could actually be okay, so I think I like that. Just discard the Moonlit Scavengers, keep up my counterspell, jump block the 5/5. And land is good, so we can keep that up for next turn. And I think I'm keeping up my counterspell and say go. Could also still play the land, but I do want to discard to maybe a Lock Dragon next turn, so we'll see. Still chumping. And do I even want to counter this? That's the question. I mean, it's a pretty mana efficient play if I do. Alternatively, I can bounce it. But maybe just getting the value now is quite good. Like, sure, I might want to counter like a Red Cat Melee or a Scorching Dragonfire, but this is still fine. Otherwise, I'm never gonna pull the trigger and